Abraham Lincoln, born near Hodgenville, Kentucky on February 12, 1809. In the year 1861, March 4th, Abraham Lincoln is inaugurated as the 16th President of the United States and the nation's first Republican president. Many Southerners view his victory determined by the free states as the final blow in decades of sectional conflict. Between the time of Lincoln's election and his inauguration, 7 states from the Lower South secede. In his inauguration speech, Lincoln attempts to pacify the South by stating that he will not interfere with slavery where it exists, but that the cession of states from the Union is illegal. He warns that he will respond to violence with force. At 4:30 a.m., Confederate President Jefferson Davis issues the order to Beauregard. Civil War begins. The American Civil War began at 4:30 a.m. on April 12, 1861, when General Pierre G.T. Beauregard's Confederate artillery opened fire on Fort Sumter in the harbor of Charleston, South Carolina. Beauregard's bombardment lasted for 33 hours, up until Union Major Robert Anderson surrendered the fort. The Confederates took down the Stars and Stripes and raised the Stars and Bars at Fort Sumter. Fort Sumter represented a symbol of state sovereignty to both the United States and the Confederate States of America. The Confederate Provisional Congress considered it an outpost under foreign control and an important harbor. Negotiations between the CSA and the United States over Fort Sumter failed. However, on April 9th, Confederate President Jefferson Davis ordered Beauregard to attack Fort Sumter if Anderson refused the final appeal to surrender. The Confederate attack on Fort Sumter placed responsibility for starting the Civil War on the shoulder of the Confederacy. Abraham Lincoln's decisive action following the fall of Fort Sumter inaugurated a wartime presidency in which the executive superseded the other 2 branches of the federal government. In July 21st, 1861, the Battle of the Bull Run takes place near Mantis, Virginia. Confederate General Beauregard defeats the Union forces under General Irvin McDowell. Confederate General Thomas J. Jackson is nicknamed Stonewall for his firm stand at a crucial moment in the battle. The fighting inspires the Confederacy to create a new battle flag after confusion occurs between the Confederacy's Stars and Bars and the Union flag. Lincoln announces to his cabinet his intention to issue the Emancipation Proclamation. By this point, he believes the border states will remain in the Union. Lincoln decides to wait to address the nation publicly, however, hoping to introduce his proclamation after a more favorable military battle. September 22, 1862, following the Confederate defeat at Antietam, Lincoln issues the Emancipation Proclamation to go into effect on January 1, 1863. In the document, Lincoln frees all slaves in Confederate or contested areas of the South. Slaves in non-Confederate border states and in parts of the Confederacy under Union control are not included. European public opinion sides with Lincoln and the Union. January 31, 1865, with Lincoln's influence, the House of Representatives approves the 13th Amendment, which calls for the emancipation of all slaves and no compensation to their owners. The amendment was passed by the Senate in 1864 but failed to receive the necessary votes in the House. By December of 1865, enough states ratified the amendment to make it constitutionally binding. The House passes the 13th Amendment. After Lincoln was inaugurated for the second time on April 15, 1865, President Abraham Lincoln died. He had been shot by an assassin the night before and died of a head wound early on the morning of the 15th.